Welcome into Mile High Territory. Ryan Spilborghs, Troy Renck. Troy has a big weekend planned, and we're actually excited for him. Rockies just finished up a series against the LA Dodgers where they got swept. We watched Ohtani hit 3 home runs. There's a swing problem that we're going to break down for you, and certainly was highlighted in Wednesday's finale against the Dodgers. Disappointing. I got a number for you. The Dodgers are 31-6 in the last 38 games against the Colorado Rockies, dating back to 2024. So, and then we'll also get into Kyle Freeland. We saw him come out yesterday's game. Still no word exactly if it was neck injury, shoulder injury, but the possibility, if that was it, we'll reflect a little bit on Kyle Freeland. Troy, how are you? You got a big weekend planned?
Yeah, our youngest is getting married, so looking forward to that. Another milestone in life. Had a lot of cool ones through the years. You will be there soon. You're not that far behind me, but yeah, looking forward to it. Just an exciting time and this is one of my favorite times of the year anyway, because of NFL starting, college football, baseball, playoff races. I love this time of year in general.
Yeah, I mean, and then you got the Nuggets stuff too. So there's a lot of chaos going on. Yeah, I know it. A lot of chaos going on in Denver sports. So let's get into a quick reflection of the Dodgers series, and then we'll certainly get you set up for this weekend. A big weekend for the Rockies with Larry Walker's statue being unveiled. That will happen on Sunday
Sunday morning.
9:30, which is great. So quick thing on Larry Walker's statue. The company is in Fort Collins. It's taken about a year to develop, build, and all that stuff. And the Rockies have put a lot of work into the statue. It's going to be 21 feet tall, which is huge. And if you've ever been in front of Coors Field, it's called the Player. It's a statue in front of Coors Field that was done by the Rotary Club for a long, long time ago. The Rotary Club used to give away the Man of the Year. That award has stopped for, I think, like 7 years. The last one, I believe, was Anthony Rizzo got it here in Colorado. So the Player is still going to remain, but you are going to get Larry Walker on one side, and then September 19th, I believe, is the Todd Helton statue. And with the Larry Walker statue, the reason why it's so big, it's the iconic home run where he finishes high, so the bat's pointing straight up. So it looks, I haven't seen it yet, but we've seen some behind the scenes videos of it. It's pretty amazing. And on Sunday, and this is not like a promo for the Rockies, but it starts at 9:30. Fergie Jenkins is going to be here. Todd Helton, I believe, is going to be here. And so you got 3 Hall of Famers, and then there's a replica statue that's actually pretty nice. It's nice and heavy that they're giving away on Sunday before that game.
Yeah, I've told you this before, I'm sure. Larry Walker is the most talented player I've ever covered. And his season in 98 when he won MVP is the greatest season I've ever covered. 5-tool player, power, speed, average, and he was a menace defensively, throwing guys out at home plate, at third base. And I told Larry this a few months ago. He's the best base runner I've ever covered. Mm-hmm. He stole bases at one point. And you have to remember, Larry Walker, like when I saw Shohei Ohtani in person a couple years ago at the All-Star game, he's built like Larry Walker. He might be a little taller, but that's like to give you a frame of reference of why was Larry Walker special? Well, he's capable of stealing 30 bags and hitting 40 home runs at 6'4", 240. I mean, he's a unique athlete in every way. He had an ability, Spilly, to know out of the box which gear to shift into. If you ever watch his highlights, he was always safe by like a foot. And it was just like a race car that knew it's like, ship. And then he was like, never seen anything like it. And again, when he was right and he was healthy, he just had an unbelievable ability to hit for power and average. And what people don't know about Walker is he wanted to be a hockey goalie. He wanted to play in the NHL.
Yeah, like Tom
Glavine. Right. So he's a little late to baseball. He wasn't, like engrossed in baseball at 6, 7 years old. And because of that, this wouldn't work for everyone, but he picked it up a little later. He learned fundamentals at a later age. So I always joke, he's like a Tom Amansky video. I mean, He's two hands in the outfield, the way he runs the bases. Like, he was just like so fundamentally correct. And as you know, most star players color outside the lines. They do things that are a little eccentric that you wouldn't necessarily teach, but it works for them. Larry was textbook in how he did things. And again, his combination of power and speed and defense, that 98 season, and again, I covered holiday season, I covered Todd in 2000. I've never covered a season like Larry that year. And the difference from Larry, Todd to me is the greatest Rocky because he did it longer. The difference with Larry, when Larry was right, he was a 5-tool player. Todd wasn't stealing bases.
No.
And the only player I covered like Larry was when he was rolling kind of in his prime and healthy was Cargo. Cargo was like Larry. And to give you an idea of what it looked like, but Larry was bigger, like a lot bigger, to the point where, if you put him at middle linebacker in the NFL, he wouldn't have looked out of place.
So I have a great story with Larry Walker, and you might have heard me share this. And it's funny when we do these podcasts that sometimes things just happen organically. Like I totally forgot about the Walker statue unveiling this weekend, and so now we're going to spend a little time on Larry Walker. And so here's my story. In 2003. I was just finishing up minor league baseball, my first season in the South Atlantic League. So I was in Nashville, and I wanted to finish my degree. And when you sign as a professional athlete, if you get it in your contract, especially if you go to college, you can add a stipend to finish your college. And depending on how many semesters you have left or years you have left, there's money set aside for you on top of your signing bonus that allows you to go to school. So I had a couple units remaining, and I was looking for a school at the end of that first full season, but it had to start in September for me to be able to attend because a minor league season goes until the end of August. So a lot of schools were just naturally out because I couldn't get there on time, and so I looked around, and I also wanted to go to school that had football. So would you believe it? CU starts in mid-September. And so I was able to sign up for classes at CU Boulder, which is where I got several units, and then I could watch football. I actually got a job in Broomfield. So if you're in Colorado, I used to work at the Flatirons Mall at the restaurant called the Village Tavern. By far the worst waiter you've ever had in your life. But at the same time,
I can see that. I can see that.
I mean, I would tell you, I was like, dude, talk slow. I got to write this stuff down. I can't memorize it. My memory is excellent, but not when it comes to taking your food order. So I started working at the Village Tavern, and I call our strength and conditioning coach with the Rockies in the minor league system. And I was like, hey, his name's Brian Jordan. He also runs a facility here in Colorado. Great guy. And I said to Brian, I was like, hey, I'm in Colorado. I'm going to school here. Where can I go work out? And he says, where are you at? And I was like, I'm in Lafayette, Boulder area. And he goes, come to Coors Field. So I said, okay. I start working out at Coors Field early in the mornings. I go at 9 a.m. and then I go work at the Village Tavern in the afternoons, sometimes do a double. And then I go to school, at the same time. Well, my workout partner was Larry Walker. And Larry, since I was a minor league player, was hazing me pretty hard. And so I spent the next 3 months working out with Larry Walker, and it still is one of the highlights of my life. And at the end of the workout with Larry Walker, he gave me a couple of his bats. So he gave
that was nice.
Larry Walker swung a 34.5 inch, 32.5 ounce bat, which is a big bat. I mean, like most guys are 33, 31. Some guys are like 33.25, 31.25 now. Like the bats have gotten smaller. I did swing once I got stronger. I swung at 34, 32. That's what I normally swung. But I had this Larry Walker bat, 34.5 inches, 32.5 ounce bats, unfinished maple, LW 33, Larry Walker 33, Rawlings. It was sick, but I was not strong enough to swing this bat until 2 years later. And when I got to AA, I was in the outfield, and all the guys, the top prospects in the outfield. Well, one of them, Sean Barker, who ended up getting a cup of coffee with the Rockies, got hurt. And he said to me, "Is like, Spilly, I think it's time you swing the Walker bat." And so I used the LW33, and it lasted. Believe this bat hangs in my family's house. This bat lasted my entire time in Double A. I had over 100 hits with one bat. It never broke. I ended up being an all-star, led the league in virtually every offensive category, got sent up to AAA with one bat, used that bat in AAA, and got my major league call-up because of one bat, one Larry Walker bat. And he knows that because I always tell him, I was like, I owe you a debt of gratitude for that bat you gave me. But I had to work out with him for 3 months, and I was just wearing it for 3 months too.
You earned that bat. You earned that bat through age. That is did it finally break, obviously, or no?
It broke. Yep, it finally broke. I got sawed
and
off.
So you glued it back together and it's up in your house, or is it broken enough?
I didn't glue it back together. I left it alone. I'll make sure I post a photo of it. It's pretty cool. The color of the bat is gone. I used to tape my bat so it would have a little bit of a taper on the bottom. The only spot that had tape, the tape originally started from the bottom of the handle about halfway up. All the tape from this top hand was all gone. I never changed anything. It had pine tar. The label had all these like foul balls on it. Larry Walker's name, you can barely read it. There was a purple ribbon that kind of wrapped around, kind of like as a decoration on the bat. That purple is like very faint. The color of it over the course of that year made it look very antique-like. It got more color in time because it was unfinished. It's a badass looking bat. It looks amazing. Like if I got it, I should almost grab it from home. But it's a special, it's an heirloom now in our house.
That is fantastic. I love stories like that. That story, folks, is why I loved covering baseball, and to this day, why I miss baseball. And access is a little different. It's not the same, but baseball players, I always felt like sometimes just talking the game, it was like kind of baseball porn about like change my stance and my hand. It was a little bit therapeutic, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. And football, when you cover it, it's like, let's talk about your pad level again and your helmet and your face. Like people don't consume football that way unless they're a coach or a player. Where the audience of baseball, Spilly, consumes it in a way where they are obsessed with all these little details of pitch sequencing and grips and cleats and that. And so anyway, when you tell a story like that about a bat, I love it. I was telling Sullivan, we can segue into that if you want. Sullivan was talking about this guy, and Spilly introduced me to this topic through our podcast. So I'm going to write about Brett here in the coming days. But he is the good vibes guy. He makes the clubhouse work. He runs it down in the clubhouse, as Spilly has said on previous pods. And I said, man, how could you avoid not quitting baseball? And he's like, I was delusionally confident. I've been saying that since I was in high school. I've never even thought of quitting. I'm like, come on, when you're in the winter league in your 30s? And he's like, no, it didn't even it's not even in the right frame of mind. And I said, well, do you ever have a bad day? Because the Broncos, I'm out here at Broncos, and I'm like, they have a guy named Malcolm Roach where I don't know if he ever has a bad day. I mean, he does, but you hear him before you see him. He's a funny guy. He's a vibes guy. In football, you still have him. It's a little different. But I said, do you have a bad day? He's like, well, I'll tell you something. I was slumping, and like anything in baseball, you're searching for answers. Like you're looking pretty. And who's hot? TJ Rumfield's hot at that time. We used the exact same bat, same company, same length, same weight. And I go over and I said, well, did you touch his bat? The oven glove get hot? He's like, no, I took his bat. As I want to get hot. I took his bat, and I've never stopped swinging his bat because, of course, I got a hit with his bat. And I said, so that's why your bat was available for Spilly for the Savannah Bananas. He's like, exactly. I haven't used my bat in weeks. So this, folks, is how baseball connects in the weirdest, most fascinating, wonderful ways.
We have poppin' colors for Mack Weldon here. I've got a little green shade. You've got a nice blue shade. And what else do you love about Mack Weldon, Kratz?
I can be head to toe with Mack Weldon. I have the underwear. I have the shorts. I have the pants. I have the socks. Obviously, we got the shirt and the jackets. But it's head to toe comfort, no matter what piece they send. I even have a belt that looks sick.
And make sure you check out Mack Weldon's AirKnit X fabric to help you out. Their lightest fabric fused with nylon mesh for maximum airflow. Skip the midday wardrobe changes. The barely there feel also keeps you feeling more dry and more fresh. You can browse that collection at mackweldon.com. Don't sweat the heat this summer. Feel as effortlessly cool as you look with Mack Weldon. Go to mackweldon.com and get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code FOUL. That's MACKWELDON.com, code FOUL.
Well, I'm excited to read the article when it comes out with Brett Sullivan. I know it's out next week, and it's going to be a must read just because it's so unique. I mean, like Brett Sullivan being a leader of a major league team with less than 100 days of service time when he's been a serviceable, like journeyman minor league catcher, backup catcher is incredible. So I love this. All right, so let's get into an issue that we saw with this Dodgers series and the Colorado Rockies. Yes, the last game of the series, Rockies put up a fight. It was good to see some of the bullpen was fantastic in the series. However, the offense, what in the world was going on? After the game, I was talking with Eric Karros, and we were just kind of looking at each other. He's like, "Do the guys get that aggressive all the time?" And I said, "Sometimes there are days like that." And so to kind of prove the point, like the league average with the swing percentage is somewhere in the mid 40s. In the last game in the series against the Dodgers, the Rockies were well over 60% swing. And if you don't believe me, Roki Sasaki had probably his best start when it comes to strike percentage. This is a guy that a year ago was walking about 14% of the batters he faced. That number has gone down. He threw 99 pitches on Wednesday, Troy. The Rockies swung at 60 of them. 60 of the 99 pitches. They had a chase rate. The Rockies, I mean, like anything over 30% is high. The Rockies had a chase rate on Wednesday of 49% of Roki Sasaki. Now, he's got a good split finger, but to give you an idea, that's ridiculous. And the Rockies were in this game. And so as you start going down and you're like, okay, how do you adjust this? You can't change the stripes. This is the problem that we come back to. Rockies faced Brock Stewart. Brock Stewart, 15 pitches, nine swings. They faced Alex Vesia. They ended up tying the game off Alex Vesia. Vesia threw 18 pitches, 10 swings. They faced Jack Dreyer, 13 pitches, 5 swings. Not bad. Kyle Hurt threw 21 pitches, 12 swings. And then the one that was just so frustrating was bottom of the 10th inning, extra innings after the Dodgers just showed you how to do it. You had quality at bats from Teoscar Hernandez, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. They did not chase. They waited until you threw him a strike. They scored 2 runs. They faced Tanner Scott, who threw 29 pitches the night before.
Right.
He threw 8 pitches, 7 swings, including 2 first pitch swings and 2 outs, which was Cole Carrig and then one of our favorites, TJ Rumfield. So this has to improve in a way. Like it was embarrassing, right? Like you just kind of looking at it, you're like, I get it. These guys are good, but come on.
Yeah, no, I will remember I was watching the 10th inning last night and I was like, geez, it's over. How many pitches did he throw? I turned to my wife. I'm like, how many pitches did he throw? And I mean, it was like, you said like 7. I'm like, that's just not how you route. You got to grind. I mean, not every inning, but in the 10th, you already have a ghost runner at second. Like, I'm going to grind a little bit, especially they know all the data. They know Scott was out there for almost 30 pitches the night before. That's a big number for a reliever. And they've been leaning on him. I mean, it just felt like anyone but Edwin Diaz pitching. They just didn't have, they weren't making solid contact. I was watching Sasaki and I was like, this is why Spilly didn't like playing in Japan right here. Every guy has a split. Every guy has some weird motion where he pauses mid-conversation. What's he saying? And then he throws this wicked ball that disappears like 5 feet before the plate. Like, come on now. You can't chase like that. I mean, you start talking about 60, like when you're swinging, and come on. They got to be better. And this is the time you got to buckle down because you know how it goes. You get into these games in September against teams where they're playing stuff that matters, you will get your ass kicked if you're not careful. So they got to get back to the fundamentals. They fight, they grind. I mean, I was talking to someone today about their identity, but really their identity is they compete. At some point, it needs to be they slug, and they will just absolutely put their foot on your throat. It's not there yet. They've got some makings of that with Goodman and certainly McCarthy. I mean, they're 3 guys maybe, but Spilly, they got to be careful here. They're playing teams that are in the playoff race. You got to let the fact you're out of it benefit you, but not to the point like I remember when you guys, I don't know if you were on the team when they're still playing in Montreal or you play these teams that are just swinging out of their heels.
Oh.
And that's the team like Jamie Moyer, would do well against because it's just like they're literally swinging at everything and they just get themselves out.
And that was the frustrating part is, in the case of, if you want to prove that you're ready to kind of get to this next tier, and by the way, I mean, like the Rockies are going to have about a 20-point swing in wins and losses from a year ago. So that's a huge improvement. Right. But you're taking on a team like the Dodgers, back-to-back World Series champs, that they have absolutely had your lunch for basically like the last 3 years. I mean, it is embarrassing how bad the Dodgers have beat up on the Rockies. And the reason why is they know how to pitch to you. They expand, They throw you one strike and then they expand the strike zone. So until you make your adjustment, the Dodgers are going to continue to eat your lunch. And then on the flip side, you look at the chase percentage from the Dodgers, like they weren't expanding at all. You had to throw them strikes. And if you didn't, and the Rockies did good. Like I'm telling you, from the pitching standpoint, as much as I'm being critical, which we should be, right? Like this is, if I'm basing it not on personality or dogging on somebody, it is the facts. It is the numbers. The numbers are telling you, you have to improve here to get to there. In the 4th inning, Kyle Freeland, he ends up having to come out of the game. We're not quite sure if it was a neck. It sounds like it was a neck issue. It could be a shoulder, could be an elbow. But for Kyle, second all-time in strikeouts. He's been on a nice little run the last 4 starts. And I mean, like there was almost a little tear in my eye last night because I was like, oh, please don't let this be the last time I see Kyle Freeland pitch, because the very first start in Kyle Freeland's career back in 2017 was a home opener against the Dodgers. I was like, don't let it end like this.
Yeah, he's just put in too much time, man. And his record isn't what you'd want, and his numbers aren't but what you want, but I'm telling you, the guy has taken the ball, he's competed, he's a bulldog. I talked to Kyle the other day and I congratulated him on that complete game. I said, I'll be honest, I thought you got one that year in 2018. I didn't realize, like, yeah, I didn't. And it did mean a lot to him. He and I were talking about it and it meant a lot. So, again, if this were to be his last season with the Rockies, whatever that shape that takes, I understand that that's the business. I hate when guys, their last pitch in a uniform where they played for a long time involves an injury. Injuries stink. It's part of it. We get it. Billy and I both get it. But Kyle is just, I always say there's certain players kind of earned the right to kind of go out on their own terms. And I just hate this. I would hate to think him going out is, with the trainer back to the clubhouse. So let's hope that he's okay. Obviously, they're going to be careful if it's anything to do with his arm. But let's hope, Spilly, that wasn't the last time we see Kyle Freeland in a Rockies uniform at Coors Field. That even if he gets one more start, I would prefer that than for it to end this way.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if that ends up being the last start at Coors Field, we'll spend a lot more than a couple of minutes on a podcast. We will dedicate a lot more to Kyle Freeland because he's meant in the world. So there you go. Rockies will take on the Cleveland Guardians this weekend. You get a chance to see Jose Ramirez, probably the best underrated player in Major League Baseball, future Hall of Famer. Sunday is the unveiling of Larry Walker's brand new statue. And then for you, Troy, congratulations to your son. You got a new person in your family, so that is awesome. Your family is getting bigger. Have a great weekend, Troy. Have a great weekend, everybody.